Salutations, episode of 77, and today we've got a new challenge for you guys. Now, today we're going to be covering the Rex. This pistol has been amazing. I love it. It's super fun. And honestly, I feel like there's a lot of unnecessary hate going for this pistol too. The same thing with the Unforgiven. This pistol performed really well. We have the 2 for prefix on this one, mostly because I wanted to play with it a little differently. And it performed better this way than it did in the single projectile format. We weren't losing too much damage for that extra projectile, so I thought it was worth it, giving us an extra chance for that projectile to hit the crit spot, especially with how inconsistent I am at landing crits on the BA loaders with these kinds of weapons. So I felt it was a good option to have there. Now, with this little pistol's scary. It's freaking beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it. We are one-tapping some enemies. Some enemies we freaking one-tap from full while after Deception. Others it takes a second shot depending on where they're at, or if we apply dot, sometimes they'll just die from the dot from like a barrel or something. The health is really close to just one-tapping. It is beautiful. It's wonderful. But why is that? Why is it performing so well, especially in comparison to the Unforgiven, where it was taking 2 to 3 shots on average to kill a target? First, again, we have the 2 for prefix, so some of the shots are very much because we landed both projectiles, but in other cases, it's because, well, the higher crit modifier doesn't really help in the way that people think it does. The critical hit modifier on the Unforgiven, for the most part, to my understanding, is an additive bonus. I'll have to go do bigger research into it, but to my understanding how it's set up is the critical hit bonus on the gun, that is a flat percent, is additive to a lot of other critical hit skills, making it where it's diminishing returns to have a lot of crit in your build while having a high crit weapon. Same thing with the Lady Fist. The Lady Fist is 800% critical hit damage. That's a lot. And landing crits, you're not getting that much bigger of a crit by having other crit skills for the most part. You're better off increasing the base damage to get a higher impact from that formula. So again, the easiest example we can utilize is the Rex versus the Unforgiven. The Rex has the base 50% critical hit from Jacobs, and then another 50% critical hit bonus as it's unique. And the Unforgiven has the base 50% from being a Jacobs, and an additional 75% by being the Unforgiven. And so, realistically, we have a 25%, or a plus 25 to the crit percent, which is very significant when it comes to the base difference between the guns. But when we start including skills, especially on Zer0, there's a large difference, because we can take a look at a lot of Zer0's skills and class mods, and we're just like, we get a lot of crit damage. For example, we take a look at Headshot. At Headshot, at 10 points, we're getting 40% bonus crit. Then, with Velocity, we're getting an additional 15% to 30% crit, depending on how many points you have in it. And there are some skills that are multiplicatively stacking, like Kill Confirmed, I'm pretty sure is multiplicative. And so we're getting 8% per stack, up to 17.6% per stack. It's quite a bit. And then we're getting Critical Ascension for our snipers, giving us that bonus critical hit from that. And then if we go to our Legendary Sniper, let's see here. Legendary Sniper, here we go. We're getting that 55% critical hit damage from the sniper comp. That's a lot of other bonuses that we're getting. And so that 25%, very much diminishing returns, because we're getting so many other bonuses that are relatively high. Now, how you would fix this is by having a larger base damage. And with the Rex has the higher base damage, hands down, nearly double. Let's take a look here. Unforgiven. The Unforgiven has a base damage of 3.1 million, and the Rex, with the same style of parts, is getting us at about 4.1 million. So it's about a 50% increase, give or take a little bit. I'm rounding because it's easy percentages. Trying to keep this easy for people and not making this complex math. So we have this really high crit modifier, we have this 25% difference between the crits, so with all these other crit modifiers, it's not really a big deal. Then we have the base damage, which is the biggest change here, of it being that 1.5. So this 50% increase versus this 25% increase, there's a pretty big comparison. It's nearly double the amount of damage by just having that 50% instead of the 25. There's quite a bit more that we could take this to. For example, the difference between the family-friendly SMG and the actualizer for their damage. The family-friendly SMG tends to be liked more because it doesn't have anywhere near as many drawbacks, being it the reload speed, the magazine size, the accuracy debuff, that kind of thing. But the family-friendly SMG, its only thing that's above it is the crit damage. Because if we take a look at the family-friendly SMG, we have a base damage of 646,000 with a crit modifier of 75%. Now, this is a 75% difference in comparison to the actualizer, which the actualizer doesn't get a crit modifier, but has, again, nearly double the damage. So this one would be more of a 100% increase. So the base damage on these is very different. And we are really close to that threshold of which one is actually more important, especially on those critical hits. Well, I have a theory, and I'm gonna have to play around with the actualizer a bit more in comparison to the family-friendly SMG. We have a theory that if you use the actualizer on Zer0, you're gonna get better performance out of it than you are the family-friendly SMG, which is probably gonna perform better on Maya, because you're getting a lot of SMG damage buff, and you're getting a lot of just raw damage. Let's see here. So I'm going to take a look at Maya's trait. What's the skill that mostly gives damage here? We're getting Accelerate, which is giving us that plus 30% roughly gun damage for the plus 10, then the 15% for plus 5. We're getting Crit from Mind's Eye, which is getting us to 25% crit, 50% crit, 55 if you have 11 points. We're getting Reload Speed from Inertia, and we're getting Fire Rate from Rag. So the only things that and we're also getting, what is it, Reaper? Yeah, we're getting Reaper too, which is more damage. And this isn't affecting your critical hit damage. So I have a feeling that the family-friendly SMG is going to perform better on Maya than the actualizer will. But on Zer0, with all of Zer0's critical hit buffs, we're probably gonna get better results out of the actualizer than they are the family-friendly SMG. Just me having some rough, very rough and not really thought out math. It's mostly theory. But I enjoy going through these thought processes, even if I'm not sitting down doing the actual math behind it. I'm just like, hey, we have these base numbers. Let's talk theory. That's my favorite part about it. That's the way I like to build. I don't tend to go down deep into the, hey, this is the exact value, so this should be the exact value that we get. I don't tend to do that. I very much am for the, hey, these are the rough numbers that I'm thinking, so this is probably going to be better than this for this scenario. No, I don't think there's a need for learning very specific numbers for a lot of things in this game. Now, there are cases where you definitely want the exact, especially with damage thresholds, which is where the actual testing and implication part comes from the theory crafting. Because I could sit here and theory craft it all day, but I won't truly know for sure until I throw numbers at a wall and see what happens. So, we have a lot of stuff that's coming up. I can't believe I potentially might be making another actualizer video after making 2 of them back to back, and both of them freaking failing in the algorithm. Is beautiful, but I could care less. I'm here to enjoy making videos, not to care about the numbers. But there's so many other weapons that this could potentially apply to as well, especially in the sniper category, because everybody's like, Zer0 sniper character, and Zer0 gives a lot of buffs, and he does give buffs specifically to snipers, but I have a feeling that other weapons are going to perform a lot better with his sniper builds than you would think, especially in comparison to a lot of the generic crit snipers. Like, for example, I have a feeling the Hawkeye is going to perform better on some characters than Zer0, some characters that are more gun damage related, like Gage giving that crazy anarchy buff, than Zer0. Not because Zer0 is bad or worse specifically at snipers, but because the base damage is what holds the Hawkeye back, not the critical hit damage, and Zer0 has a lot of crit stuff. Now, he also has a lot of regular damage buffs, so there is still the chance that, hey, these regular damage buffs being more consistent, or more available, or more easy to use in comparison to playing Gage is going to make it better. But, as I said, I just have to play around with things, and we're going to find out. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I love it. Now, that's all the Borderlands I wanted to talk for this video. I have a couple other things I want to talk about, some channel updates. I want to work on videos that are outside of Borderlands. Because I was talking in my channel updates video about playing Terraria and about playing Balloons and some other games. And the Desperado Monkey just came out on Balloons TD6, so I've been playing with that, trying to do some 2TCs with it, Two Towers Chimps, which is the most difficult game mode in, well, debatably most difficult game mode. I personally would argue that Half Cash is more difficult than Chimps on most maps, but that's being uber specific. I very much love Balloons, and I love playing that game. There's so many fun things to do, interactions to play with, and it's a tower defense game. It's a lot more of a chat while playing kind of game. So I'd be going back to the I guess live commentary in quotes, where I am commenting over the gameplay instead of, like, I'm commenting while I'm recording the gameplay instead of doing these voiceovers like I'm doing now. I would go back to the, hey, this is me as I'm actively playing it, live reactions. And I feel like that would be really fun. And I have another video that I want to post at some point soon as well, where I was playing Get to Work. And this was a result of it playing with HH King over the hunt stuff that happened. So I have a lot of stuff that I've been doing that's been outside of Borderlands, and I want to start posting stuff like that. And I understand it's been a while since the last kind of upload like that, because the last one was a $5 Friday that hasn't come back yet. All of the games that are on my list, I didn't realize would take me freaking 8 hours to get through them and be able to supply a review. I feel really bad, because I was immediately like, well, this game took like an hour to play through, and I can just post the mostly unedited footage and just be like, hey, this game was really cool. This is the premise of the game, and this was a lot of fun, and you guys can figure out the rest for yourself. Because I want it to be more of like a showcase kind of video style. Because there's a lot of games that, especially in today's industry, where I'm just like, this game doesn't get the view that it probably should, especially in comparison to these larger companies that are releasing games that have a lot of issues with them. I love these smaller games, and these cheaper games, especially in today's industry where we are about to hit the $80 mark. Having games that are available for like $15 to be that intermediary between you getting the next $80 game, if you're even going to plan on getting those $80 games, is very much a needed section of the industry, and I don't see it very often. So the times that I do see it, I love covering and I love commenting on that I enjoy. If you guys have suggestions or recommendations, do let me know. I love trying out new things, especially when they are to showcase for stuff like this. So let me know game suggestions in the comments. Now, I do have a couple disclaimers for that though. If I have a very, very strict freaking vetting process when it comes to the privacy sector of installing software or applications. So first thing to check, did it come from, did the game release from a country like Sweden or Switzerland where they have really good consumer-friendly data laws? If it did, then cool, it's probably going to be allowed right off the rip. If not, then the next step is looking through the privacy policy and being like, hey, this game doesn't have or has specific clauses that prevent data selling or data harvesting. because there are privacy policies and game companies that have lines in their privacy policies that are there for consumer rights and to prevent them from selling your data and from collecting data that you don't want them to. They have clauses for that. And so I'd go through and read their privacy policies, just like Control F, maybe the word sell, and look for, hey, we sell information, or look for the California law line, because if they're a United States-based company, a lot of them are required to have a law based on California standards where they disclose it if they have sold information relating to the player in any capacity to another company. Now, it is for third party and does not include companies that are within their circle. So, for example, if Gearbox sold information to Take-Two Interactive, which they're probably giving anyways if they are requested for it, probably. If they had the information to begin with too, because they probably don't for a lot of people. But when it comes to that, if they were requested to sell that information, it wouldn't be disclosed there because they are an associated first-party to first-party company, since Take-Two Interactive owns Gearbox. Borderlands example, and with all the stuff that's been going on recently, hopefully a helpful example to explain how that law would be written. Now, if they say that they allow third parties or first party partners to sell information, who are their first party partners, and do they also have lines that have protective or predatory lines against consumers for data harvesting or data selling? And if they do, then I'm probably not going to play the game. If any of those layers have that in their policy, I'm probably not going to play the game. Just simply because I very much reject that consensus of policy for especially games and installed software. When it comes to stuff on the browser, I'm less worried about it because there are definitely ways of getting around a lot of it. But when it comes to installed software, it's a lot more sketchy, especially in the gaming industry. So I am a little bit more concerned about that. And when it comes to stuff like social media, because I know a lot of people are just like, well, why does it matter? Social media takes all this information anyways. For one, there are ways around it. Two, social media is a nigh requirement to be accepted within society at this point. If you don't have social media, then you're basically not connected to most of the people on the planet. Because nowadays most people are either too busy to go out and have conversations with people that they don't know, or the stranger danger concept has gone super mainstream, and so people just don't talk to strangers in general, even in places where it could be acceptable. So there's a lot of things in regard to that, and I'm very much an advocate for personal privacy and people being able to retain it for themselves. But that's all the time I have for this video. See y'all in the next video. Zer0 OP10 signing off.